Yo, what's going on, y'all? Okay, so I know you've been waiting with bated breath. What did Ultra Magnus think of this new Slim Shady, the Death of Slim Shady album, right? Alright, let's get right into it. No ifs, ands, or buts. Check it out. First and foremost, on this album, the underlying theme is that Eminem was having fun. When you think of some of the best early Slim Shady records, the most imitated music videos, what comes to mind? Even if the humor doesn't translate for everybody, Marshall has always prioritized his sense of humor on records, whether it's rapping in a voice that everybody loved, or costumes and goofs. M is always having fun, and I think that post-relapse Shady, for the most part, abandoned that side of him. Recovery is a very serious, so is the underrated Marshall Mathers LP2, the album that we pretend doesn't exist, Revival, Music to be Murdered By, or Kamikaze. They're all rage, letting that chopper spray. They're reactionary, they're intense records, and although humor is sprinkled in there, nothing is centered completely around a fun idea like the death of Slim Shady. Now, I have to say, this record is not for me, alright? That's just me personally, but I kind of understand where this is for Eminem fans. I mean, what makes me happy is hearing someone creatively free, just having fun. The concept of separating Slim Shady for M and his relationship with the persona is pretty dope. His intentional juvenile rapping is justified, and he's trying to highlight his growth, separating, the past him from the new him. And what that means for the listener is that your mileage is going to vary in terms of enjoyment. M in the past has absolutely had to deal with censorship. Some of his best work comes from his frustration with the hypocrisy of criticism on his lyrics. If you look at something like The Way I Am, it's like the pinnacle of that. All of his frustrations of being made the constant scapegoat, writ large, spat back at your face, but that song still gets me pumped right now, you know what I mean? I am whatever you say I am. Nowadays, though, his lamenting on the album is kind of hollow. The idea that a cancel culture PC police is coming to get him, that Gen Z is waiting outside the Shady offices, is pretty weak. My nigga, we have bigger fish to fry, I'm sorry. Gen Z is too busy getting scraped off the sidewalk protesting genocide. I don't think your raps about hitting quote-unquote retards or disabled people are getting the kids out of bed to line up around the Shady complex. The endless trans jokes and Caitlyn Jenner references are very out of touch in a new Dave Chappelle kind of way. Something tells me this will be Bill Maher's favorite rap album of all time. Millennials are so soft. That said, the endless Christopher Reeve references, which are again going to be lost on most of the younger audience, read like this desperate attempt to be offensive. But he's also rapping from the perspective of himself from 20 years ago, so again, it's intentional. This is why I hated the song Houdini and will never listen to it twice, but it makes sense in the context of the album. It reads as someone trying to be crass, and I'm sure there are people out there that it will, strike a nerve with, but most people are not going to get hard for this. On Lucifer, he raps, "Before I get banned, kicked off Twitter, and TikTok cause they ticked off bitter." Like, bro, have you been on Twitter lately? Tongue-in-cheek Eminem lyrics are child's play compared with the cesspool it's become. Not enough slurs to hang out with the cool kids, my boy. I mean, on that same record, I do appreciate the Candace Owens hate. That bitch sucks. He rapped, "And Candace, I ain't mad at her. I ain't gon' throw the fact, bitch. Forgot she was black, back at her. Laughed at her like them crackers. She's back, and after her back is turned in a cute MAGA hat with a brand new White Lives Matter shirt. Nope. I say this MAGA dirt bag in a skirt just opened the biggest can of worms on the whole planet Earth. Call it Grand Wizard, yeah, Clandis, or Grand Dragon, Thank you for that, M. Candace Owens, or Kundis, has been trying to sneak into the cookout with her new pro-black rebrand, so, it's nice to see Shady call her out for a very obvious shit. But that's just what it is. It's obvious. I also appreciate the Diddy bars, but, I knew they were coming, you know what I mean? The record is filled with dope flows. He's got some real nice songs about his daughters, and, and he loves emotional shadow boxing. I mean, there's this bit on The American Office where Michael Scott gets emotional about a fake movie, a tagline that he made up.
"Michael, you cried at that tagline for a movie you made up."
He had no arms or legs, he couldn't see, hear, or speak. This is how we led a nation.
And M does this a lot. He's always asking himself questions like, what if I was dead? What would I say to my daughters? What if I kept taking those pills? What would I say to my kids? These hypothetical scenarios, these terrible scenarios. But he's good at this. It's kind of like an actor, right? Getting into the headspace. Like a professional actor, it brings out the emotion out of him. And you can hear that on songs like Temporary with Skylar Grey. Now, a quick side note, I have always been baffled by M's choice of collaborations, and Skylar Grey, man, I just don't get it. No disrespect, but I never got it. I never need to hear another hook from her again in my life. You have the choice of probably anyone in the world, and you're always collabing with Skylar Grey. But now, I can say, though, that having familiar people in a studio session, like the Mr. Porters of the world, may lead to a more comfortable space for M, especially if you're going to be vulnerable. And so he's worked with her so much at this point, I guess going to a dark place with a good friend was probably a good move. The features. Let's get this out of the way. Nobody talks about this at all, right? But the biggest casualty in the Kendrick Lamar-Drake beef was Big Sean. If you look back, he had a whole album rollout. He was getting ready. He'd been hitting the gym. He got jacked as fuck. And the second he begins promotion, all you hear is, nigga, fuck the big three. Huh? It's just big me. He's standing there like, what? I'm not even in the big three? And then gets crushed by more Kendrick antics. He was having flashbacks to that Control verse. He rapped like it on the feature on this Toby track. He had to get his shit off. This nigga got blown back to 2013. Having flashbacks. Anyway, he shows up on this album. He delivered a clean verse. Jid has the best features you probably could have guessed on the record, Fuel. You know, that man is flawless, just doesn't miss. And I've been seeing a lot of internet talk, you know, Eminem was never good. Eminem is so cringe. He's always been bad. And it kind of comes from the internet crowd, you know, who don't have serious opinions. They literally just go with whatever the internet is saying. There's a line on Toby where M says, Melly Mel shouldn't get no reply. That man's a legend. Bitch, so am I. And it's nice to see him unapologetically acknowledge that he's top 5 all time. No debates, no old heads trying to rewrite history or dismiss his impact or ability. We really do have to stop genuflecting to unserious, sometimes jealous people whose opinions don't matter. Let your nuts hang, Em. Swing your dick. To wrap it up, the project is a good listen, you know, a nice cap to the last string of projects he's dropped. I'm telling you, if you want a lyrical mastermind with witty social commentary, a white rapper with bars and flows respected all across the world, an absolute powerhouse, a machine dipping in and out of pockets with ease, delivering references 1,000 miles a minute, unapologetically crass. Hey, Jerry, what's this B-roll footage? Yeah, I said find me footage of the best white rapper ever. Who the fuck is R.A. the Rugged Man?